Hey Nathan,
Yes.
what do you think would happen if you tried to watch every single episode of WWF's Raw?
At the rate that we do it, I feel like by the time we get to where we started and Monday Night Raw was still going, we'd still be 5 years behind.
Shall we try it?
No.
Okay, so today we are discussing the January the 18th, 1993 edition of Raw.
Are we not introducing ourselves?
Oh, okay, sorry, yeah, let's do that. Oh no, that was the intro bit. Okay, I am Blake.
I was going to say, you didn't have your name, Blake.
I am Blake. I love wrestling. I love the whole damn thing. I think it's all wonderful. And I was used to watch it when I was a kid. My great auntie used to send me long playing VHSs of all the pay-per-views from the 2000 to 2001 era. And I still watch it now, much to Nathan's chagrin because I make him watch it with me. And this is Nathan.
Hi, wrestling's alright.
Yeah. I think you said last time round you like watching wrestling with someone that likes wrestling.
Yeah, I don't think I'd ever watch wrestling alone.
I've tried it and it's quite sad and depressing.
Yeah, because, I watch it because, I'm looking at something or people flying about, that's nice. But, when you go, oh my god, then I'm like, that was a good thing that just happened.
It's quite a wholesome moment, I imagine, for you, seeing the joy and delight in this young boy's eyes.
Yeah, it's nice to see you smile again.
Oh, thank you.
It's been 15 years. Sorry, shall we get with the actual episode?
Today, we are watching we have watched the January 18th edition of Monday Night Raw. It's the second one ever from 1993. And it comes to us live from the Manhattan Ballroom.
I was going to say, yeah, it's New York.
The Grand Ballroom at the Manhattan Center Studios, which is a small New York theatre. Mm-hmm. So the show opens up, and I think this is going to be a running theme. Vince McMahon is psyched.
Yeah, he's loving it.
Loves it. He's like, hello, everyone. He sounds like Macho Man Randy Savage, mainly because my impressions aren't that good.
I mean, obviously, Vince McMahon, not a great person, but a pretty damn good, host.
He gets me into it. As soon as it starts, we're like, woo, 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 welcome. I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it. We've got the same commentary team as last time.
Yeah.
So it's Vince McMahon, dressed in a very nice tuxedo.
Yeah.
With
probably Sunday best.
Yeah, with our mortal enemy, Rob Bartlett. And just the absolute nutcase that's Macho Man Randy Savage, who I think we all adore and love.
Yeah. But, the commentary team in this episode in particular is pretty strange. Now, obviously, because I think last time we were talking about how good Macho Man and Vince McMahon were, and Bartlett was there. Now, the episode starts off not with an outside opening like we had last time, but on the inside with Vince McMahon introducing the show, and then just Macho Man Randy Savage just gets fucking annihilated.
Proper annihilated.
By Repo Man, who just runs in and nicks his hat.
Do we want to take now to talk a little bit about Repo Man?
We get a bit of a better view of him later, so we might leave it to them.
Okay, so all I can say is this blur in a duster coat and a Hamburglar mask.
This large, chubby, balding, mustachioed man jumps out.
From the right-hand side of the screen, around the ring post, and just knocks out Randy Savage.
He's bloody quick for a man of his size.
He's swift for a big man. And he kneels down, doesn't he? And he takes Macho Man's hat, which I'm sure I've seen at Glastonbury.
It's a very loud hat.
Yeah, I think I'm sure I've seen people wear it in the crowds at Glastonbury and stuff. It's a very it's a big statement piece.
Yeah, it's okay, imagine a cowboy hat made out of an arcade floor.
That's a really good analogy, actually. So obviously he's quite perturbed by those events, isn't he? He lays there for a bit too long.
Yeah, I'm thinking that Repo Man actually, genuinely attacked him at this point.
When you see him later in his little match card thing, he has a hook on a bit of string.
Yeah.
So everyone looks a bit sort of confused. McMahon looks confused. Bartlett looks confused.
The audience are confused.
Everyone's
confused.
Not quite sure what's just happened. And he runs away, Repo Man, laughing, shall we say?
Chortling like a villain.
And in the top, even though there was a ring lady again holding up a sign, even she looked confused and concerned. So that was good. So that's our opening. So
and also Macho Man chases after him after about 5 minutes of being dead.
Yeah. So he jumps up and he races. That's quite important later. And then it goes to the intro. So we get the same intro as last time, and again it's just 90s in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
90s
cool.
VHS looking like greys, triangles, wavy lines.
Look what we can do with computers.
Yeah.
So after we come back from the intro, the commentary team is just Bartlett and McMahon.
Yeah, for a good half of the coming match, or like at least a good first 5 minutes of the next match.
Yeah, because obviously McMahon, Macho Man is running around outside trying to find Repo Man.
He's gone for a while.
Yeah. And we get our first match of the evening, which is Terrific Terry Taylor versus Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
So I haven't really got much to say about the intros. The one thing that did distract me, where they are in the Grand Ballroom, there's like a curtain that they have to come through. So the spotlight...
Oh yeah, there's just like this thin little orange curtain.
The spotlight kind of cuts to the back of the arena and you're seeing it from like the hard camera perspective. So it's literally in your top right-hand corner of the screen.
Yeah.
And you just see the curtain fly back and this man walk out. And he's not really got a lot of presence, I don't think, Terrific Terry Taylor. He just looks kind of ordinary. He comes out first, and then Mr. Perfect comes out next. Quite a big pop for Mr. Perfect. People seem to like Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
We start off kind of slow and steady, I'd say, as a kind of a face-off.
Yeah, there's not much going on at the start of this one. There's a bit of grappling.
Yeah, there's not really... It doesn't really feel like there's a kind of a feud or anything going on. It's just a match.
Yeah, because they don't really introduce it with like, Terry Taylor murdered Mr. Perfect's son or anything.
Terry Taylor nicked Mr. Perfect's hat and...
I mean, they talk like Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair have a bit of a rivalry that's going to be talked about
coming up
later. Yeah.
So Mr. Perfect starts us off with a very nice sort of pro wrestler, or like an actual proper wrestling move of taking him down and spinning around on top of him.
Do you know what that move is called?
Go on.
No, neither do I.
Oh, okay.
Because the commentary team won't shut the fuck up about Repo Man.
So yeah, the commentary team are a bit distracted. They're talking about the attack that's just happened. And to be fair, to start off with, it's literally just a spinny move, and then Mr. Perfect slaps Terry Taylor on the bum.
It is, yeah. I'm wondering if like Vince McMahon went to them before that. No, listen up, you sons of bitches. We're going to be talking about Repo Man. We're going to be putting the hell all over it.
So like, just don't do anything interesting for the
don't do
first
anything
5 minutes.
For a while, until you see Macho Man come out. And then we're going to talk for 5 minutes more about Repo Man, because we really got to put this chubby middle-aged man over.
Okay, so this is the problem that carries on for the rest of the evening. I will come to it a bit later on the differing ways this gets on our tits.
Yeah.
But I've not seen much of the modern Raw, like post-pandemic Raw, like where we are now.
Yeah.
But I remember before, when Raw was like 3 hours, as it is nowadays, there was a lot of discussion about literally just anything else, but that's because they've got 3 hours to fill. So I just thought it was a byproduct of having that amount of time to fill and only, say, 5 or 6 matches that go on about 10, 12 minutes apiece.
Yeah.
So obviously you've got to kind of pad. Now, this obviously seems to have been a problem from the get-go.
Yeah, it's just an attitude they started with and never grew out of it.
So I'm just sort of wondering like whose idea that was. Obviously, with 45 minutes, maybe it's a victim of the other way around. So with 45 minutes, which is an hour, but obviously without ad breaks, it's 45 minutes. You have to fit in a lot very quickly. So I guess what you have to do is have like a breakneck speed. Obviously, people want to see wrestling. So the people in the arena aren't going to be hearing the commentary. So they need something to look at while they tell you about what's going on and the storylines that are building.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just a byproduct of that. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
Maybe, but like, I mean, it's pretty clear that the Monday Night Raw was started as basically an advertisement for the pay-per-views.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
that's what the whole thing's
a
about.
good half of this Raw is dedicated to advertising the Royal Rumble that's happening that week.
No, that might be because it's that week.
Yeah,
I mean,
it might be.
The first
but even
one...
even the first one had like a good amount of talk of, this is going to happen in the Rumble. We're having this match as a setup for the Rumble.
Yeah, that's
like
how
everything that
works.
happens. Yeah.
So it works as a kind of like building up. So obviously you're getting this for free, and then obviously to make you pay for the pay-per-view, they've got to get you excited for it. So obviously you're going to be seeing like developing storylines and everything that kind of leads you into it. But it does feel quite egregious in this one. It just feels quite excessive. But action in the ring while they're chatting nonsense. There's a bit of a push-off, sort of a bit of a stare down. Randy rejoins commentary, sans hat, and he's having the worst hair day. It looks like doll's hair. Like it's just all like...
It's just sweaty and matted, going down over his face. Like he does look like the Grudge or something.
I remember, remind me later about what I said. So there's like pretty nothing action. And literally, as soon as I wrote that down, the pace picked up.
It did, but it's a pretty standard brawler affair. They're just sort of smacking each other about.
They do put over the fact that they are both kind of brawler type.
Yeah, they're
Pokemon.
both like big guys.
Yeah, brawler type Pokemon.
And they're both like, and they're both sort of got like the early '90s like bleached blonde hair. So
I think if they both were in trunks, we wouldn't have known who was.
Oh yeah, if they're both in like just plain black trunks, we wouldn't tell them apart.
So I think it's good they've given Mr. Perfect kind of like a mauve singlet to wear.
Yeah, he's just got. Because like I can't remember exactly, but it was like two armed at the beginning, and like yeah,
And he
like,
pulled
later
strap
on-
down
Yeah.
when he got angry. That's how wrestling works.
Yeah, wasn't it Andre the Giant that did that, or am I thinking of someone else?
Yeah, and Big Show.
And the Big Show did it.
Do you
that's
not
it.
realise that when you do that, it increases your power by 110%? So the pace picks up. There's a
Yeah.
really nice drop kick from Mr. Perfect. Like a really nice drop kick. Just literally jumps up. A very springy man. I didn't realise how athletic he was. Just knocks him with his foot. And then they sort of dive over the top rope.
Yeah, and like Terry Taylor gets like Mr. Perfect against the barrier and smacks his head pretty fiercely against it.
It looks pretty rough and ready action, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The action's good when it kind of gets going. So there's a headlock takeover. There's a near fall. And there's a kind of a long rest hold on the mat. They've done this
Yeah.
quick sequence, and I think he locks him into like a headlock and lays him down on the mat. I think Terry Taylor's on top of Mr. Perfect, and
Is
they just kind of stay
that
there.
after or before they cut to an ad break in the middle of the match?
I think that might be afterwards.
Okay, yeah, because again, like we sort of complained about last week, they had an ad break in the middle of this match, but that happens pretty frequently this
That's a
episode.
recurring theme
Yeah.
this night, isn't there?
Almost as recurring as Bartlett not being funny. Because he won't shut up. Because, like, obviously Repo Man took Macho Man Randy Savage's hat, his livelihood, he's put thousands of dollars into that hat, apparently. And all he can think about is, oh, my car, I didn't park it properly. Do you think Repo Man's taken it? Shut up! There's more important things going on, Butler.
Macho Man's hat, for one.
Yeah.
There's already been one victim of the Repo Man. Don't go worrying about any more. Then there's some phone problems, Nathan.
Oh, yes, that happened this time, didn't it?
Okay, so in an effort to kind of get as much going on as possible, they've decided to do a series of phone-ins over the course of tonight.
Which, I don't know, I mean, it's early days in Raw, so maybe they're just trying to, like...
Experiment with the formula, see
figure out what they
works.
can do, because then they can get, like, big names in without actually having to, like, pay them to be on camera.
Yeah, because they can just be sitting at home in their jacuzzi or whatever,
Yeah.
and just sort of having a fag or a cigar or whatever.
Cigarette.
Yeah, cigarette or a cigar or whatever, and drinking some brandy and having a really nice time. So we've got no Bobby the Brain Heenan trying to get into the building this week.
No, he's
I
just
missed
trying to
it.
get in through their phone lines.
He's trying to crawl through the phone line. I missed it, to be honest. We didn't get a lot of Sean Mooney either this week.
He was only in it a couple of times.
2 or 3 segments, I
Yeah.
think. So I missed him. I missed Bobby the Brain Heenan. There's a good 10-15 seconds of Vince McMahon trying to figure out if the phone line's working.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to use phones, bless
He
him.
just, you
Doesn't
know,
get them.
I mean, his butler is obviously holding it the wrong way up, so McMahon can't hear him properly. And then eventually, Bobby the Brain Heenan comes onto the line, and they talk, they communicate for a little bit, and it's pretty nothing. Nothing really happens.
Yeah, no, Heenan's just complaining that he should be there and Bartlett shouldn't be. It's basically the same shtick as last week.
I agree with him.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I don't think he needs to dress up as a rabbi this time.
What if he did when he got there? Like he just
feel like doing this.
yeah,
from
he
now on.
debuted his like characters while he was doing commentary because Bartlett was doing a Mike Tyson impression last week.
Was he?
He was attempting a Mike Tyson impression last week. While they're having this pretty nothing in conversation where Bartlett and Heenan are arguing, like an old married couple, head pecking each other.
Bobby Heenan and his nephew, man.
Oh yeah, of course, 'cause, yeah.
He was his aunt at one point.
I'd forgotten that. That was a but
Let's just move on.
let's move. So there was like
please.
some big chops in the ring, like big loud chops,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
perfect to Terry Taylor, which were awesome. There
It
was
was a loud match in terms of like just pounding it in the instantly.
There was like a big arm drag from Taylor to Perfect into an armbar, which was pretty cool. Obviously, bring it back down to the mat, another rest hold. There was a near fall around that point as well, because obviously, when you're in an armbar, your shoulders are technically touching the mat. Something they don't really do nowadays, but yeah. So if you're laying on your back at any point, and your opponent has any part of their body on you, that's technically a cover.
Yeah.
So that kind of counts. There's a scoop slam. There's a weird. Okay, so Perfect scoop slam to Terry Taylor, and then he comes in to do a move, some sort of move. And there's a weird bit of miscommunication, I don't know if you noticed this, where Taylor sort of puts his leg up.
Yes, I saw that. Oh, because like we sort of looked at each other like, what the hell was that? Because like, Terry Taylor, it was Terry Taylor on the ground, wasn't
yeah.
it? Just sort of like puts all 4 of his limbs up suddenly, and it's like
Like a shocked
Yeah.
spider. Just
And Perfect is just like he's flinging himself about. He doesn't
Yeah.
know what's going on.
He just sort of goes, what do I do? And then just like takes a back bump. It's really
we'll say,
bizarre.
like professionals, they just gut on with it.
And there's another armrest hold. There was a really nice jawbreaker from Terry Taylor to Mr. Perfect. You know that move where he kind of got his head on top of his head and then he dropped to his knees? Like,
Yeah.
Jawbreaker. That was pretty cool. Then there's a bit of a protracted beat down from Taylor, like he like punches the fuck out of Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
The match is good. He gets him into a backbreaker, like Bane and the Batman. That was wicked. The near fall off the back of that. Then you kind of get back. They get back to their feet, and obviously it becomes more apparent now that Taylor is supposed to be the heel because he rakes Mr. Perfect's eye at one point. There's a snapmare takeover, a chin lock from Taylor to Perfect, which was quite cool. So they kind of take it down again. Taylor hits Mr. Perfect with a spine buster, which I thought was pretty sick. He bounces off the ropes, he comes back in, picks him up. The proper Triple H pick up, turn around, slam, spine buster. It's a near fall. There was this really weird, like awesome looking twisting power bomb I've got written down from Terry Taylor, where he kind of hooks his arms around Mr. Perfect, and Mr. Perfect's facing towards the ground, and he sort of hoofs him up and over, like onto his back, and then slams him down.
Oh yes,
like,
I remember
weird twisting. It looked really cool, right? There's a near fall off the back of that, and then Mr. Perfect decides to hulk up for a minute.
Yeah, he just sort of kneeling on the ground,
with a blow in as well. He's like. It's wicked. And they trade blows, like big right hands. And then Ric Flair enters.
Yeah, Ric Flair just jumps in and ruins Mr. Perfect's life for a bit.
He attacks Mr. Perfect, rolls him back in. Like, he started off strong, Ric Flair. He kind of slammed him into the step, slammed him into the railing, did a few like bit of punch-ins. Then it was sort of like, oh, okay, that's my time now.
Well, I mean, he's got a match later. He wants to rest up.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. I guess that could work in the terms of the story of the show. I don't want to like go all out, like put him like in a figure four leg lock or whatever. So he rolls him back in. And there's a bit more back and forth. And Mr. Perfect wins with I wrote down a reverse catching suplex because I didn't realise what this was.
Yeah, we looked it up afterwards. Apparently, like it's officially called the Perfect Plex,
Which is his finishing move.
Yeah.
And I don't think that came up on commentary. I think you were just supposed to know that.
Well, no, they were talking about bloody Macho Man's hat again. Macho Man.
Macho Man Randy Savage, if you please. So, all in all, that's the end of the match. A pretty good match.
Decent. It was a good brawling match.
I liked it. I felt the commentary didn't do it any favours.
No.
But then again, the commentary would literally just be calling moves, which is what we've just done. And there's not really any story going into it, so it's a mixed bag, really. But
yeah, it was a starting match. Like they didn't want to put anything particularly special into it.
And it's a good start of the story that's going to be running through tonight, and that carries over to next week's Raw as well.
So there was nothing between like Terry Taylor and Perfect, as far as we could tell. But like, it's good to start the Perfect and Ric Flair business going on early.
Do you think it might have been because obviously Mr. Perfect is called Mr. Perfect? So he thinks he's perfect.
Yeah.
And Terry Taylor calls himself Terrific Terry Taylor.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm Mr. Perfect, so perfect's better than terrific, I think you'll find. And terrific's like, well, that's as maybe, but you're getting a jawbreaker.
I don't know, like, do you think they book matches purely based on name value alone?
Do you think maybe it was just like, okay, we've got a guy called Terrific, a guy called Perfect. We could probably do something with that.
Probably.
And then a fucking Repo Man ruined it by nicking Macho Man's hat, and then they were just distraught for the rest of the match.
Or do you reckon like they were looking at it thinking this booking's pretty like weak, there's no real story there. Let's just talk about Repo Man. I feel like talking about Repo Man today. Let's get Repo Man in to do something.
I reckon he's going to be my sort of star of 1993. I'm so excited to see more of him. And we see more of him later on in the evening, which is great. So all in all, with that match, good match. Commentary detracted from it slightly, but not to the point where it ruined the match. I felt like it was a good opener. And on a show with only 3 matches tonight, I think the quality of match already is better than we had last week.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Because, I mean, I think we had, 5 last time?
4, I think.
4. Okay, so 4 or 5, we'll check it later. And I don't really think any of these, apart from the IC Championship fight, really got to this kind of level. So this was great.
Yeah.
So now we're going to get some adverts. So Bret Hart, he pimps Ico Pro, as we discussed last week, is Mr. McMahon's
own supplement range.
Protein thing. It was quite a short bit, so it wasn't...
Yeah, it was just Bret Hart looking like super intimidating, walking towards the camera, so he was going to strangle the cameraman.
Now, this is the first thing you've probably seen of Bret Hart, I believe.
He wasn't in the last one we did, was he?
No,
then yeah. Probably.
So what do you think so far? Like, what do you think of him, like Bret Hart? Because he's the champion.
I can't really judge him from the advert.
I mean, he's a champion at the moment. So
he might just from that, like the way he was presenting himself, kind of reminded me of like an early D-Generation X era Triple H.
Okay,
that's how I put it. Just like with the long hair, the kind of attitude that he was portraying.
Okay,
but like I mean, from what we see of him later, I wouldn't say that necessarily sticks.
Carries over.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's your first look at the champion
Yes.
in an ICO Pro segment. Always a good start. And then
Then we get the Slim Jim!
oh, now, when I saw this, I assumed wrongly this would be my favourite part of the show this evening.
I mean, I think like the Macho Man Randy Savage Slim Jim adverts live in I want to say infamy, but they are like famous to people just because like how can he put over a meaty treat that well?
Because he is somewhat of a meaty treat
He's a
himself, I'd
meaty
imagine.
treat.
They've got him all dressed up like a psychedelic cowboy, and he has a slim bit of meat.
Not yet though, because he's trying to wrestle with a plain white bag with potato chips written on it.
Did he?
Yeah.
Where was I looking for that?
It was right at the beginning. He's just like, you can't open a bag of potato chips. It's like, fuck that. I'm getting me a meaty treat, a Slim Jim.
I didn't even see that bit. Is that what kind of that's what inspired him to reach
Yeah,
for the
if you
meaty
find
treat?
potato chips too difficult, bite into this dry piece of beef.
Eat these pig lips.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can't get my Walker's crisps open. Fuck it. I'll have like an old school American pepperami.
Yeah.
Are they like a pepperami?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty
just
much,
a
okay.
stick of questionable meat.
I've got a stick of questionable meat, but I loved it.
I love it.
I
yeah.
loved it.
Macho Man is just so entertaining no matter what he's doing.
I think he could literally turn his hand to anything, and I'd find it fun.
Like rap music.
Yeah. We're gonna have to review that
At some point, we've got to.
So we come back from that high of the evening,
Yeah.
and we get a Vince McMahon interview with Bret the Hitman Hart, the
Yeah.
current WWF champion.
And obviously this is in a kind of rebuttal against the Razor Ramon interview from last time.
Yeah, so he kind of comes out and he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to be saying Chico because that's not me."
Did he actually say that?
no.
I was going to say, I wasn't paying attention.
So this is basically, yeah, like you say, it's a rebuttal. He's coming out to kind of hype up their match at Royal Rumble on the following Sunday from this show. And he basically just runs over the same points that Ramon does, but in reverse. So he talks about how Ramon attacked his brother Owen on WWF Superstars. He also mentions a new wrinkle in the story that I don't think we were aware of until now. Ramon, that nasty, no-good, despicable man from places that we're not quite sure where he's from,
No, from, questionable Latino, maybe?
he slapped Stu Hart.
Oh, he did, didn't he? The poor 78-year-old.
And they make a point. Bret Hart makes a point of pointing out he's 78. Like, he says 78 multiple times. He's like, "Oh, every wrestler respects my dad," who, by the way, is 78,
Yeah.
if you didn't know.
Birthday cards, please.
So yeah, there's not really much. He's good on the microphone.
Better than Razor Ramon was.
But I mean, I think I'm kind of looking for more intensity.
Yeah.
I think the one thing he lacks is he's quite a stoic. I mean, he's called the Hitman, so he's like ice in his veins. That's probably part of his character. But he's quite a stoic sort of character, and he is quite sort of reserved. Like, he doesn't go bananas like someone else does later on, let's just say.
Yeah, like the intimidating, like the intimidation act doesn't hold up particularly well when like the occasional Canadian accent slips through.
Yeah, and he kind of
Like he's like, and he really tries to hold it back. Like those parts where he's like, about.
And he does stumble over a few of his words as well. He's a tiny bit marble-mouthed, but not so much where it's comical.
Yeah, no, he doesn't sound drunk like Razor Ramon did. And there's at one point where, like, obviously it's just like weird camera work, but it looks like the camera's like slowly drifting to sleep because it pans from the Bret Hart's face just slowly down to the belt, but the way it just like falls down, it looks like he's falling asleep.
So I thought he was being hypnotised by the gold.
It is shiny.
And I thought it was gonna there was gonna cut to the camera and go, "It's Razor Ramon with the camera." He's like, "Give me the gold, Chico."
In order to cut back on cost, Vince McMahon is hiring magpies for his camera.
So it's a pretty good interview.
Yeah, and also there's the bit where like he's talking about how Razor Ramon is the bottom of the barrel. No, he's worse than the bottom of the barrel. He's like, if you have to tilt the barrel to get the scum at the bottom of the barrel, it's like, Bret, that's still at the bottom of the barrel.
Where was he going with that?
What barrel are we? What is in the barrel?
Where was he going with that? You have to tilt the barrel. All right, Bret the barrel tipper Hart.
And also he says he's going to take him to Unconscious Street or something.
Yeah. I wonder what the rent rates are like around there. Pretty low,
very
I'd imagine. I'd imagine it's not a very nice place to live. It's just off Knockabout Boulevard. Do you reckon that's where The Rock gets all his like sort of Know Your Role Boulevard shit from?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, well, Bret Hart used to talk about streets and put stuff in front of streets, so could I do something with that? Yeah, so that was fun. I enjoyed that interview section quite well. It was pretty good. And then we go to my favourite part of the evening.
Yes.
You could attest to how excited I was when this started happening. The camera fades in, and I literally gripped my notepad and started going, oh!
Now, obviously, we talked about this a little bit last time with Tatanka introducing the Headlock for Hunger Somalia Relief Fund. But this time, we have dear old Paul Bearer and the Undertaker doing their bit for Somalia.
Now, I know we gushed a little bit about Paul Bearer last week.
Yes.
And obviously, I've not seen a lot of him.
No.
I'm obviously very aware of him. But when I was watching wrestling, obviously The Undertaker was doing his own sort of thing by then.
Yeah.
Paul Bearer was very much sort of a 93 to 98, 99 kind of character.
Yeah.
And when he's in those later ones, he looks a bit different.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bit more toned down.
Well, I mean, he wasn't like, how do I say this sensibly, too far from the end, shall we say? Like he didn't last much longer than that, I don't think.
Then why does he look more ghostly now?
I think it's just like extra layers of makeup.
Because
he's like pure white.
He looks like Nosferatu.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And it starts off, and he's holding the urn.
Yeah.
And it starts off with a very stereotypical, "Whoa!" like a ghost.
Oh, my Undertaker!
And he always does it side on as well. Have you noticed? He doesn't look directly at the camera. He's always got a side on, all bunched up with the urn in front of his face, and just one sort of cheeky little eye.
Yeah.
Sort of like looking at, and he's plastered in makeup.
Yeah.
He looks.
He must be fucking warm under all that.
He looks like a Halloween zombie. It's amazing. And he just has a bit of a chat about how much The Undertaker hates famine.
It's worse than that, because like the way he puts it makes it sound like The Undertaker is upset about all the people dying in Somalia because he hasn't had a hand in it. Like, if someone has to die, The Undertaker has to accept your request for death.
I can understand why they got the lad last week to do it.
Yeah.
I cannot understand why they got Paul Bearer and The Undertaker, the devil's children, to come on and cut a promo against hunger.
Okay, right, we know you're all upset that you're all dying in Somalia, so we're sending over...
An Undertaker!
An Undertaker and someone who's probably dead.
And a man whose name is a pun.
Yeah. A great pun, I should say.
And he's banging on about how The Undertaker hates hunger.
Yeah.
And I think my favourite bit has to be The Undertaker going, "No one should be hungry."
Come on, kids, get your shreddies.
I'm going to put that at the top of lines that I never thought I'd hear The Undertaker say. And now I want to see him on cereal boxes. Like Undertaker flakes or whatever. It was brilliant. If you can find this section on YouTube, by the way, just watch it, because I don't think we're doing it justice.
No, you have to watch it.
I mean,
Paul Bearer, bless him, I think he might be one of the best performers that WWE had.
I'd say he's easily the best character on the show this evening.
But just how much of himself he put into it as well.
He really went for it, and it's only like a 1 minute spot. Like it's not. It doesn't go on too long.
But everything he touches is so memorable.
It
was one of the best parts of last week as well.
Yes,
even though he's just standing in the back or just holding the air going, whoa.
And I think that's great. Like if you can do something that simple and still be the best part, then you're doing something right. So I'm really excited to see more of Paul. I've written down Paul and Take.
Paul and Take.
And I've written down Taker hates starving. So that was really, really, really good. I enjoyed that massively. So we're riding on a high here. We're loving the show so far. And then we go back to the ringside action. Mm-hmm. And our next match on the card this evening is Marty Jannetty versus Ad Break. I'm sorry,
yes.
Glenn Roos.
That's exactly what I wrote. Like Marty Jannetty gets introduced, he comes to the ring, cut to Ad Break. We don't even see Glenn Roos's like actual walk up or introduction.
To the point where we're not sure that's his actual name.
We think he's called Glenn Roos.
I think that might be what it is.
I don't even know how to spell it. I put it down as ruse, as in like, like a falsehood.
Oh, I wrote down ROOSE. That's what I wrote down. Oh no, we're both wrong. It's Glenn Ruth.
Ruth?
Yeah, Ruth. That didn't sound
it is Glenn Ruth.
That didn't sound like Ruth, did it?
Whoops. Okay, so Glenn Ruth just appears in the ring during an ad break.
And then they start the match off.
Well, have you like heard about either of these before?
I'm vaguely aware of Marty Jannetty.
This is my first look at either of these two.
Okay, so Jannetty used to tag with Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay.
And that's
like
leading
before this, even. Okay.
And that's leading up to their fight at the Royal Rumble, because obviously they've split now as a partnership.
Oh, of course, okay.
And then Sherry is the which way will Sherry go sort of thing is in that as well.
Yes, yeah.
I don't think Jannetty was in it for very... Like, he never got properly famous like Shawn Michaels or The Undertaker or anybody else. But he is good. And I think he went on to work for other promotions and do a lot of indie stuff leading up to the millennium and things like that. So he was wrestling for a fair old time.
Okay, I mean, like you say, like, he seems like a really damn good wrestler. But we'll get into that in a second.
Carries himself quite well. I mean, he's got a nice sort of, what's the word, like, unassuming sort of demeanour and face.
Yeah.
You instantly feel sorry for him because he looks sad all the time.
He just looks confused as to why you've hit him.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that?
But yeah, we got the two men in the ring, and Glenn Roos offers to shake a hand,
which is good.
Like a good gentlemanly wrestler would do.
I like the fact he does it as Jannetty's taking his top off. So there's 3 or 4 frames.
Awkward seconds of
There's 3 or 4 frames where it hangs like a bra before it falls down again, and he shakes his hand and he's like, oh, okay, it's going to be a nice gentlemanly contest. No, the sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yes.
As soon as Jannetty turns around, that bastard Glenn Roos, he comes in, smack in the back of the head, and we're off.
And this match starts immediately. It's fast, it's flingy, and it's fun.
It's like pistol whip speed, like it's really quick, and I really enjoy this one. There's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of arm offense I wrote down, so a lot of headlocks chaining into the arm. Jannetty does this awesome thing where he's in an arm bar standing and he rolls forward to relieve the pressure, so he's on his feet again, and then he rolls back to relieve the pressure the other way, and then he kind of rolls him into his own arm bar and he starts like dropping the elbows, doing some punches and stuff. So there's a really, really nice kind of back and forth between the two. I've not written too much about this because it was just so quick. And it was a lot of good back and forth. So there was a big leap that Jannetty did quite close to the beginning, where he came off the top rope and just took Roos down.
Yeah.
I was going to call him Roos. And there's a big arm drag. More phone problems in the middle of this one.
Yes, because Shawn Michaels calls up.
Now, did they ring him or did he ring them?
I don't know, because it's we got Shawn Michaels on the line. I don't know if it's just like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire thing, where like Shawn Michaels is at home watching and going, that fucker! I'm calling McMahon.
I think he was ringing in sick, and they were like, fine, if you're ringing in sick, you've got to do a phone bit like that. And he's like, oh, all right. And he just, so again, we've got the same problem as the first match, but at least I'm more agreeable with this one, because at least the guy on the phone has a stake in the outcome of the match.
He has a reason to be like, wanting to chip in his 2 cents.
Or sort of give his opinion on the stuff. So I'm more, and it's kind of like, now I think back on it, so Heenan was on the phone last time, but Flair did a run-in. So you've got those 2 elements. Michaels is almost doing a verbal run-in, so to speak.
As it were, yeah.
And he's talking about Sensational Sherry and how, like, we were a bit concerned because the line of dialogue starts off with, and like every woman, I was supposed to go with this.
Yeah, and there's like a 2-second pause. It's like, oh god, she has nice tits or something.
I was supposed to go with this, but I was like, every woman, she wants to sleep with me. And then, I don't know what it was, I was like, okay.
But like the entire thing is kind of sexually charged, because like before that he says, I'm going to get to Mighty Jannetty, I'm going to shake, rattle and roll him. First of all, I'm going to shake him from the inside. So hang on, Sean.
I'm going to rattle his bones.
Yeah.
Which is a euphemism for shagging.
Yeah. And I'm going to roll him over and give him a damn good rotary. So yeah, Shawn Michaels is like clearly he thought he was calling the sex line.
He's sitting there with a lad on, just sort of like, well, now what do I do?
Vince McMahon is not exactly the most attractive voice in the world, but I'm going to give it a damn good go.
It's quite a tricky wank, I'd imagine, that one. I'm sure someone's managed it. If you've managed it, write in. We'd love to hear from you, and then never hear from you again. But the action is grand.
Yeah, the action is great. There is at one point where, because obviously they have the catchphrase, was it uncensored, uncut, uncooked or something like that?
Yeah, uncooked, yeah.
But like Bartlett fucks it up. They start going through, it's like uncensored, uncut, and then Bartlett goes, unraw! Unraw! Bartlett, what's that supposed to fucking mean?
I love the fact he's been in the job 2 weeks. Last week he was a constant pain in our ass. This week he's a pain in our ass, and he's getting things wrong.
Well, this week he only has one joke about his like fucking car in the Repo Man.
I'm really glad that this show moves this week at a much quicker speed. Even though the matches are longer, it feels like a quicker show. Like the pace is really hopped up this week. Maybe it's quicker wrestlers, maybe it's more stuff being crammed in, I'm not sure. But Bartlett gets less opportunity just to go on these long diatribes.
That's the thing, I think McMahon's trying to talk faster, so he doesn't have a chance.
Just sack him. It's that whole thing of like, if he sacks you 2 weeks in, it makes him look bad. But he's got to wait 6 months and then sack you so you look bad. Is that what it is, do you reckon?
Maybe there's like a contract and he doesn't want to have to pay him for the full 3 months.
That sounds like him, doesn't it? Let's be honest. So Jannetty wins this absolutely beautiful contest with a kind of like, I don't know how to describe it. It's a famous so he goes up, puts his leg on the back of your head, slams you into the mat, pin. But he's kind of caught Roos's arm. He's kind of like got him in an arm drag position and then famouses him. Do you get what I mean? So he kind of bent his arm back over to the side and then like his leg kind of draped along from his wrist across the back of his neck and then famouses him that way.
Yeah.
Which is really, really, really cool. I'm assuming that is his finishing move. I'm not quite sure. If it is, I'm excited because I want to see more of that.
Yeah.
Really good match.
There was a bit of the commentary that I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah,
because obviously, like we say, Bartlett's still banging on about his car, and Macho Man says something to the degree of, well, why don't we solve the rest of the world's problems before that? First, like my hat. And I like to imagine that his order of the world's problems is his hat, Somalia's starvation, the war in the Middle East, and then Bartlett's car. But his hat takes top priority.
I agree with him. That's the order of things should be. I mean, I would go to the point of having things like, I've got a splinter above Bartlett's car.
Bartlett's car should be the lowest.
I mean, I just don't get what he's banging on about. Every time Macho Man brings up the hat, he's straight in there, car. Like a
Do you reckon
mental...
the man beforehand said, look, you're only allowed one joke this time, Bartlett?
Yeah, make it a good one. He was like, I can do loads of crazy shit about my car. I could stick him out like that. So the commentary in this match is less egregious. It's more focused on the match.
It's more focused on Shawn Michaels as well.
And the thing is, but again, I don't mind that as much because, like I say, I mean, obviously he has a stake.
It's tangential this time.
Yeah, exactly, which is my favourite Pokemon, by the way, tangential. And so I appreciate this match.
I like one joke, Blake.
That's my joke. I appreciate this match, and out of the two so far, I'm really struggling to pick which one I like more so far.
Yeah, I mean, this one started off as good and flighty. It did feel as though it dragged on a little bit to me. It repeated itself a little bit. But...
Yeah, I think that's the thing we're kind of finding now is that I'm not sure they know when the ad breaks are going to be. So they just know it's going to be somewhere in the middle because it's never the beginning or the end. And this could just be the way that they used to book wrestling matches back then was just good strong start, good strong finish, kind of figure it out in the middle.
Yeah.
That could be the problem. Or it could be we're not sure where the ad break is going to be. So in the middle-ish, once you've done your opening sequence, before you go into your end sequence, just do the same 3 or 4 moves. Because the Mr. Perfect one had a lot of snapmare takeovers, scoop slams, and then near falls. That was kind of the rhythm they got into.
Yeah.
And I remember saying something much the same degree last week, that the middle section of one particular match had pretty much do a move, near fall, the other guy does a move, near fall, first guy does the same move again, near fall.
Yeah.
So I don't know whether that's kind of what the problem is.
It wouldn't surprise me. It could just be, they're trying to keep the rhythm at a steady pace so that when they do get the word, okay, we're cutting to an ad break here, they can just get them in a resting position.
Yeah, sit in a rest hold until they come back again. But like I say, it could just be how they used to book matches back in the time.
But even then, if that is the preparation, they don't do a great job of it because sometimes they'll cut to an ad break and then they'll come back and all of a sudden they're up and fighting again.
I think this is a problem that we're going to find as we're going through. It's just going to be just bad places.
So I think perhaps in the future maybe let's not hang on about the ad breaks because let's just say an ad break comes in, it's clumsy. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think eventually we're going to get into a rhythm where we probably don't even notice them. It's like a blind spot. So I think it's one of those things, I think, from being on network TV, I reckon. It's just one of those problems that you just got to have. They want their ad breaks when they want them, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to fund it somehow.
Yeah, so there is a bit of repetition in the middle, like you say. But I don't think it took away from the match as much.
No, it was still a decent match.
And I appreciate the Michaels phone in. And overall, I'd say, good strong match. Good strong match. We then go to another Royal Rumble report. No, it's a Rumble promo, isn't it? So basically it just says Royal Rumble this Sunday. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes,
so that's the next bit.
Yeah.
Then we go to...
Sorry, the rain's coming down. I hope that doesn't come up.
It's a bit stormy outside. We go to a spot from WF Superstars. Where Crush gets legitimately, I think, killed by Doink the Clown. We cut to the announce table, and there's Macho Man with his crazy doll hair, still incensed. He's not calmed down. He's red in the face.
He's like,
he looks like a Slim Jim. He looks like a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
His skin tone is the same colour as a Slim Jim. Rob Bartlett's just snacking on a Slim Jim in the corner.
Yeah.
It's all going on.
But yet Macho Man looks genuinely fucking pissed
I don't
off.
know if he's a great actor or if that's true and he's paying off that hat in like monthly payments. I don't know. We cut to WF Superstars, and McMahon talks you into the segment. Doink has attacked Crush. Now, if you remember last week, Doink and Crush had a bit of an altercation towards the end of the show.
Yes, yeah.
And that last sort of 5 minutes where we were like, what in the blue hell was that?
It didn't really end. They just sort of like had them running about. Doink jumped into the ring and mocked him for a bit and then just cut to credits.
That's happened this week as well, but for different reasons.
Yes.
We'll come back later. So it's quite a long callback. Like, you know that Kamala bit from last week? It's kind of that same sort of length.
Like that.
So it cuts this section from WF Superstars, and Doink's there with his arm in a sling. I don't think a medical professional has made that sling for him.
No,
it looks
it's
like
not,
a handkerchief.
Yeah, I don't think they offer like polka dot slings.
And he's got a posy, a flower.
Yeah.
And he's offering it to Crush, and he's like, let's just be friends.
Was it just me as expecting like water to spray out of that?
Yeah, like Jack Nicholson. I remember he was saying he looked like Oscar Romero, the Joker last week. So yeah, I think the
Oscar
theme.
Romero?
Yeah, that's the guy's name, isn't it? The very first Joker.
Caesar Romero.
Caesar Romero.
Yeah.
Why did I say Oscar?
I don't know.
He should have got an Oscar.
John Romero.
John
Romero's Joker. Now that's a film I'd fucking see.
I'd love that. So he comes in, he takes the posy, not John Romero, Crush.
Yeah.
And Doink has a false arm.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell that like the way the wrist is bent in that sling, and
I would have
the
loved
fingers
it.
are slim.
I would have loved it if it was upside down, like if it was on the wrong way. So
It's like the doctors didn't do much around that point in the sling.
his palm was facing outwards. I love that. And then Crush is like, I don't think there's anything wrong with this picture. I'm fine with this. So he blindsides him with this arm, and again, like Macho Man at the beginning, Crush lays there motionless for quite a long time, and like Doink's hitting him in the back of the head with his arm, and he's not like reacting, he's not selling.
No, and Doink is just fucking relentless.
He's laying into him. Like I expect, it's like Triple H, like sledgehammer shot. Like he's proper getting his elbows in there. He's proper going down, hitting him. He gets dragged away by Sergeant Slaughter and about like 18 security guards. One of which is a fat man in a very charming sweater and a tie. And I just like to just mention him because wherever he is,
God rest your soul, mate.
A little nice moustache. He looked like a charming, sort of friendly, overbearing neighbour from an American sitcom in the 70s.
Yeah. It looks like if you're having a bit of trouble, he'd come round and help mow your lawn or something. He'd repaint the fence for you.
He looks like a bit like Vernon Dursley. Sort of thing from the what I imagine was like the Harry Potter.
But less evil.
Yeah. So like he gets physically dragged away from Crush after this really long beatdown.
Yeah, and like you don't expect that many people to like it would take
It's
that much
Doink
to
the
drag
Clown.
him away. It's Doink the Clown. You'd expect that sort of thing for like Big Show or
They
something.
booked him like fucking Goldberg. Like he was like throwing security guards left, right, and centre.
I wish Doink the Clown had like the history of Goldberg, where it's like he's never lost a match.
198 wins, 0 losses. So he goes mental. He gets dragged away. We get the same advert as we got last week, and I've just realised what it reminded me of. Do you remember that 90s TV show Zap?
Yes.
Yeah. Like that. It's the one that the caffeine-free advert from last week. Yeah. It's the caffeine-free one from last week. So it's that one that's like lots of high-speed, kind of sped-up footage, and Big Boss Man going, "Hey!" at the beginning.
Yeah.
That one. Brilliant. But we won't harp on that too long because that's obviously just...
No, and they also, like, the commentary team theorised that Doink the Clown's arm must have contained lead or something.
Yeah, because I remember saying to you, well, if the weight of the lead crushing his skull didn't kill him, the eventual lead poisoning would.
And can I ask, is there actually any beef, like genuine beef between Doink and Crush? Because like all I can tell is that Vince McMahon sicked Crush on him at the end of last one, and now he's all upset about it.
I think that basically might as well be it.
It's like, it wasn't even Crush's decision. He just thought, I fucking hate this clown. I'm just going to come out here and put a stop to this show because I want to cut to credits and get home.
I've got a roast
I'm
in
on Crush's side with this.
I agree.
I don't
I'm on
care
Crush's
that,
side.
like, Doink is, like, you know, partially not fully able at the moment.
I forgot to mention there's an amazing section. When he first pulls the arm off, and everyone's like, oh my god, it cuts to a lady,
Yes.
it cuts to a lady in the audience. And genuinely it looks like she's convinced he's pulled his own arm off and he's grown another one.
Like, sorting out the fucking thing.
Yeah, because like he pulls the arm off and it cuts to her and she's like, whoa! And then it's like another, then she sees the other arm, she's like honestly to the point where like in a Sam Raimi film she would have screamed at the camera like in The Evil Dead or whatever.
Yeah, you could cut that into any modern horror film and it would look normal.
It was hilarious. So then we go to Sean Mooney, our man.
Oh yes,
our
probably
boy
my
on the street.
Oh no, it's not that bit yet.
He's interviewing the Repo Man. Do you want to take us through this bit, Nathan?
No, I mean, what do we even do here? So yeah, according to the Repo Man, Macho Man Randy Savage is still paying off his hat. How expensive, Macho Man, was this fucking hat? Because apparently he's missed a few payments on it, so I can only imagine that he's paying like $2,000 a month or something.
I love the fact, I remember talking to you about this while we were watching the show, that for Macho Man, the most important thing in his life isn't his wife.
No.
It's the hat.
It's the hat.
To the point where I'm sure on the commentary, it wouldn't surprise me, it was like, I'll give you Elizabeth, just give me back my hat.
Take my wife and my kids.
Give me my hat.
But obviously, like, there's a bit, because the commentary team can still be heard as Repo Man is, like, doing this promo, basically, about
And he's got
Man.
a strange, when I saw him, I wouldn't expected his voice to sound like it sounds. It's quite squeaky and cartoonish.
It's quite high-pitched, yeah. But that could just be part of the character.
Yeah, I believe so, but it's quite grating.
But I've got to say, who is fucking fooled by that mask of his? It's the weakest, like, eye mask thing. Like, you could still pull that man out of the lineup if he took that off.
And I think what would really give him away is his big duster coat that says Repo on the back. He'd probably still be wearing that, to be fair.
He's basically trying to be a Batman villain.
Yeah, pretty much, like from the 60s. Cesar Romero. See, it all comes together, Nathan. Yeah, the great bit about this, there must be a delay, because we've got picture-in-picture. So you've got Macho Man in the bottom corner.
Still looking like an absolute coked up mess.
He looks like he's just seen like a really violent crime. And he's on like the earpiece. Sean Mooney's got an earpiece.
Yeah.
And a microphone.
Repo Man does not.
Okay, so he's got a microphone and an earpiece. So Sean Mooney can hear Macho Man. Macho Man can hear Repo Man, but Repo Man can't hear Macho Man.
No.
So
there's like a weird middleman conversation going
It's
on.
really weird, and it just descends into them all trying to talk at the same time.
Eventually Mooney gives up and just gives him an earpiece and a microphone.
The thing is, like, he points the microphone at Repo Man, and Repo Man's doing his like promo. He's like cutting a shoot, like cutting on Macho Man, and Macho Man's trying to retort, and it's just like this big cacophony of noise. And Repo Man, I don't know whether he kind of cottons on to the fact that I can't hear him, so obviously I'm getting a bit confused. He plucks the earpiece
Oh yes, he takes it. Okay.
out of Mooney's ear and puts it in his ear, so then they're connected by a bit of
Now
string.
Mooney can't hear what's going on.
And then a bit of a wire, and then they just start shouting at each other. And I didn't catch any of this, because Macho Man's got quite a distinctive gravelly voice. Repo Man's got a high-pitched voice. It's like being hit with a flashbang. Like, it was just noise.
It's disorientating, yeah.
I didn't like it.
But like and like I say, Savage looks genuinely upset, like this man has like stolen his wife or something. And it ends with Macho Man suggesting that they go on a date together.
Oh yeah, I thought that was really cute. Like they're going into it like there's going to be a proper blood feud. He's like, oh, I want to get you, Repo Man. I'm going to come out there, Repo Man. Let's not do it in the ring. Let's meet on the street. And he's like, oh, it's a date, Repo Man. Let's
We're
go
going on a date.
Yeah, like he says, let's go on a date or something worse that effect. And I'm like, oh, no wonder he doesn't care about his wife. This is cute. I like this. And Repo Man's all up for it. He's like, yeah, I'll go on a date with you. Yeah, Holmes, let's do it. I can pick you up in my Repo truck. You know, you can dress as a psychedelic cowboy. I'm dressed as the Hamburglar. This will be a laugh. And let's go like Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. It'd be great. So I thought that was quite cute. But no, they're going to have a fight at some point. We're not quite sure when.
Yeah.
And that's that for now. We get the
also like because like obviously like in the beginning of the show, Macho Man went looking for Repo Man. It was like, did he not check the foyer? Did he not like look at me and go, right, he's probably gone for an exit. I'll just check the front like entrance.
I see. The thing is, I can imagine Repo Man hanging from the rafters like the Phantom of the Opera on his hook,
dropping a chandelier on the wrestlers.
Yeah, just sort of like with laser beam vision. Almost.
Yeah, he has a fucking hook and a rope over his shoulder as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's for repoing. Hats are heavy, Nathan. He needs to like repo hats.
I like to imagine because like he's taking back a hat and he's going to be taking on different like objects later, shall we say? Is he like? Does he work for one company that specialises in renting out hats and like cars?
Or is it like Dog the Bounty Hunter?
Yeah, is it? Because how? Who like says, okay, well, we've got to get the bailiffs in? No. I know this one guy. He's a wrestler.
No one's going to mess. It's like Lizard Lick Towing that used to be on like
what the
Dave
fuck
Network.
did you just say to me?
Did you ever seen that?
Lizard Lick Toe?
Lizard Lick Towing. It's about these two rednecks. Just sidebar.
Okay, we're having a bit of a tangent here. That's fine.
And they repossess vehicles and cars and things, and they run their own office in like sort of bumfuck nowhere in America. And they get on like on the radio, and they're like, "Oh, we've got to go and get back this lorry." And then they go there, and it's like an actual real life in inverted commas like, documentary. It's real business, and they always end up being like, "Oh, what a crazy scheme!" Like, there's always like crazy schemes are happening. So I imagine he'd fit in. He'd be like the third Mr. Nick Towing brother. There's like. They're like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, basically. But they repossess cars. So I imagine that's kind of the sort of thing that Repo Man does.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
Okay. I like that he's a bounty hunter of repossessed items.
I just like the fact that why, I mean, like, I don't understand why that character would start. He hates people not paying bills. He's going to take the law into his own hands.
Well, I mean, I think genuinely, like, we know this about Vince McMahon. He doesn't like people who come to take his money away, hence Owen R. Shyster. Fucking pay your taxes, Vince McMahon, you billionaire prick.
Then we go to the Royal Rumble report.
Yes, speaking of, let's go into the Royal Rumble report.
With Mean Gene Okerlund again.
Love me some Mean Gene.
And it's basically the same thing as last
Well, it's Mean Gene and his, like, inch layer thick fake tan that he's got.
He was wearing a really spiffing WF blazer. Like, I'd wear that. Like, it was like quite a cool blazer with like a gold, the old gold.
It looks like a golf announcer or something.
Yeah, the old gold insignia, like the big W and the big F.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty sick. So I enjoyed that. But it's basically the same thing as last week.
Should we be referring to it as WWF or WWE at this point? Because I've been saying WWE.
I've been saying WWF.
Okay, well, take your pick. Choose your own adventure on this podcast. I don't suppose it really matters.
It was once at the point in time it is a WWF, it becomes WWE later.
Yeah.
You know, I don't really think it matters that much. But it's the same thing as last week. It's basically just a rundown of who's going to be in the Rumble. We get to see some cool faces.
It's a good lineup from the looks of it.
We don't get any interview segments this time around though.
Oh, we do get one.
Ah, that's not to do with the Rumble itself.
No, true. Yeah.
You know that they do that Rumble rundown. It's like, oh, and the Undertaker's
yeah, they got
there.
the cool 90s pictures of people.
They look like they're kind of like Streets of Rage, sort of like punching out of the wall sort of thing.
Sort of like you got the Tekken or Street Fighter thing. It's like Lee versus etc.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. We do, like you say, we do get one interview, and it's from a lad called Razor Ramon, who we saw last week.
A good little boy named Razor Ramon.
And he's wearing a crinkly gold shirt.
Oh, he has gold everywhere. And he mentions that fact. I have gold on my fingers, gold on my neck, and soon gold on my waist.
I like that. I thought that was cool.
That's a nice little promo he did.
And I like his whole Chico.
Yeah, he's still saying Chico like every other word.
And I said to you when we were watching it, this was better than
genuinely a good promotion.
Better than his segment, and obviously, as you point out, he could have had multiple takes if he needed them.
Like, get some coffee in you. I know WWF is like caffeine free, but this isn't. Sober up, for God's sake, Razor.
I mean, he's a heel, so he can take illegal substances if he wants.
Like caffeine. Steroids, fine. Coffee, no.
No. Bad man. And I like, so he does a bit of a, kind of cuts a promo on Bret Hart, and he's like, oh, Royal Rumble, gonna kick your butt, Chico, bada, gold on my fingers, gold on my like neck,
your chest, or whatever.
Gold on my waist, gold on my toes, gold on my teeth, gold on my eyes. And then he does that thing that he always does where he flicks his toothpick at you. What a disgusting man.
Is it? I hope he doesn't wrestle with a toothpick in his mouth, because that could go so wrong.
I kind of hope he does, only because I like seeing people get hurt. I want to see it go for his top lip.
Oh no.
Not really bad, just a little bit.
Oh. And then we get probably the best segment of the night.
No, I still reckon it's the Undertaker bit. But
do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon, yeah. But go on.
Because, like, cutting back to Mooney, like, Macho Man Randy Savage has left the building and he's, like, kicking about in oncoming traffic, just looking like a fucking Teletubby.
I wrote down Macho Man interacting with the real world blows my mind.
Because he's just got, like, multicoloured polka dots, the cowboy sweater, like, jacket.
Yeah, it's got, like, tassels on it. Yeah. And he's not got his hat, so his hair's like kind of blowing in the breeze.
Yeah.
And he's like running into the street and he's like, oh,
where's Repo Man?
It's weird.
He just looks like an absolute pillock.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a being from another dimension has appeared in front of me. That's the contrast we're talking about.
It's like the opening to Lilo and Stitch or something.
Yeah, this sort of big pink cowboy. It's like kicking taxis as they drive by because they won't stop picking up. I wonder why.
I just imagine it like we walk up to us and like, what year is it? Who's the president?
Give me your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle.
Oh yeah!
I want my hat. It was great.
I fucking love Macho Man.
I'm super psyched for him to fight the Repo Man.
It's going to be
I
ridiculous.
genuinely can't wait.
Even though we accidentally saw like the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got my weeks mixed up. And then after that,
Yeah.
I don't know about you, I was feeling a bit tired at this point. I was like, there's so much that's
Just a lot of
happened.
laughter has gone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I can't take much more of this. A Matador arrives in the ring.
Yes,
El
El
Matador, who from the side looks like Eric Roberts, from the front looks like beaten up Mickey Rourke.
Post-surgery or...
Mid.
Oh, during...
Like, they've just done it and someone's like blacked his eyes, like someone's proper gone at him.
Oh, poor Mickey Rourke, bless him.
And this guy's called Tito the Matador. Tito.
I didn't take that note.
Because the crowd were chanting, "Come on, Tito," and he's fighting Rick.
He's not my favourite Jackson brother, but
I wrote down El Matador versus Ric Flair because his opponent is Ric Flair.
Yes.
I didn't write down Tito. So this time,
I've got to say, like, before going into this match, I was thinking, oh, well, this is probably going to be like a squash against the Matador or something. I've never heard of this person, so he can't be like that special or anything. But I mean, I'll let you like continue and go into it if you want to.
So I wrote down El Matador versus Ric Flair, and neither of them I wrote down was called Tito. So they all started chanting, "Come on, Tito." I was a bit concerned what was happening in the audience.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your joke.
That's fine. I was a bit like, I don't want it to come over there. So, I obviously said to you at the beginning of this, is this the first time that you've seen Ric Flair, one of the all-time greats?
Younger Ric Flair, yeah.
Wrestle? And this is probably him kind of in his heyday, I'd say. Like, it's probably going to be...
He looks decent.
Yeah, he looks good. He's in good shape. There's no one on the card tonight that's been scarily muscly. Not like the Steiners last week.
No, I was saying to you, like, during the showing itself, so everyone in this is like kind of a normal looking body. I mean, yeah, they're big, but they've also got like a bit of a gut on them.
I quite like that.
Yeah,
I like the fact...
It looks normal.
Yeah, they're not all like muscled up Godzillas like the Steiner brothers.
Yeah, or what Brock Lesnar would be for a while until sort of 2019.
When he came back and he was...
I'm calling you out, Brock Lesnar.
He was
Come
really
punch me.
Fat Brock Lesnar haunts my nightmares. So Ric Flair and a Matador.
El Matador.
The world's worst Matador. He gets his cape thing at the beginning and he's swishing it around. I'm not
Just kinda
buying
lazily.
I'm not buying his.
If I was a bull, I'd kill him.
I mean, I just sort of think, like, what did you say? He's not even got a pig in the arena with him.
I said cow!
Oh, he's in a cow, sorry.
Because I forgot what a bull was for a second.
So there's a bit of a kind of a cocky face-off. Flair gets in the ring to his wonderful music, wearing an amazing outfit.
Yeah, Flair is looking darling.
The big long coat with the fur, the nature boy written on the back in sequins.
Yeah.
He looks $1 million. To which Rob Bartlett says he probably got that coat from Victoria's Secrets. And I, remembering what you said earlier on, I wish I'd said at the time, stick to your one joke about your car. And I just felt all the energy just get sucked out of me when he made that Victoria's Secret line. And I was like, oh, shut up. And I think, is Macho Man back at this point, or is he still out running around outside being a mental case?
I think he's still outside because I've got like halfway through like talking about Macho Man, but I don't have like a note saying when he comes back in.
So it's just Bartlett and McMahon.
For a second.
And there's a lot of strutting and wooing,
Yeah.
which I like.
As you get with Ric Flair.
And he does his big strut and his big wooing. Matador comes off the ropes, big knockdown.
Oh yeah, Ric Flair gets immediately
He
assassinated.
gets steamrolled, and the impact he can make himself come down with, it's really, I think it's the loudest bump anyone takes all night. It's a really loud bang, which is great. Ric Flair kind of, I wouldn't say struggles to his feet, because he's not quite there, he's that old yet.
Oh no, I'll tell you what, I think Macho Man is in at the beginning, because he makes a joke that I think is genuinely kind of funny. Because I think Vince McMahon says something to the degree of like, oh, it sounds like there's a lot of Ric Flair fans in tonight, because there's a lot of people wooing back and Macho Man like, oh yeah, I think all of Ric Flair's fans are in tonight. No more than the crowd capacity. Or something to that degree.
So he's only got 12, 12 guys. So he struts and moves, big knockdown, he gets back up, they lock up. Traditional start for a wrestling match, lock up. And then Matador scoops Ric Flair, scoop slams him. Puts him in a headlock, takes him down. There's like a snapmare takedown. There's a near fall right there. Flair fights back up. And then with Flair, this was pretty awesome. With Flair in the headlock, the Matador man, he like runs up the turnbuckle with his legs and flips over Flair. Did you see this?
Yeah.
And then Flair starts like dropping like punches on him and stuff. sort of gets him like, with a couple of punches. And then there's a weird section where the Matador puts him in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of Matador throwing Ric Flair into the corner in this
the
match. And
Matador-
he can, like, fucking throw him into it.
The Matador looks great. Like, he looks awesome. I mean, like, he's got a bit of a hokey look. He's got, like, kind of green pants with, like, kind of gold trim at the sides, like a Matador would wear.
Yeah.
I wanted to see him stab Ric Flair with swords, like a Matador would.
Just get a spear at the end and jab him in the side.
But he looks good, and he's quick, and he can come off the ropes like a
Like a bull.
Yeah, like a whip crack. And he's just there, like, bang, taking him down.
But yeah, there's the weird bit in the corner.
Yeah, so the Matador puts Ric Flair in the corner. He kind of climbs up in like a 10-punch spot. And then, I don't know whether Flair's supposed to push him or what, but he just sort of falls off.
Yeah, from the angle we're looking at, it looks like he basically like just sort of jumps against Ric Flair and flings himself backwards in like what looks like it was supposed to be a flip, but just lands straight on his back. And like, so it's kind of just a self-harming jump.
Yeah, the thing is, like, if he fell slightly, then that's just him falling, which is a botch, which I'm fine with.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, okay, he jumped up, couldn't find his footing, he just slipped off. But the fact he managed to propel himself backwards that much...
like he deliberately...
Yeah, obviously it was an intended move, right?
Yeah.
So I'm assuming Flair was supposed to probably, like, low blow him or give him a push off, whatever. That didn't really happen.
I mean, that could have happened. It's just like there was a pretty bad camera angle for it.
It
We're
was
just like
very-
getting like the wide camera.
Yeah, it was very blink and you miss it as well. So
Yeah.
I might have to go back and give it some more analysis later on. There's a massive, massive, dirty big back body drop for the Matador to Ric Flair.
Yeah.
He's up there in the rafters, Nathan. He comes slamming down. It's great.
Yeah, like we say, like Matador is just fucking bodying Flair. Like, I assume he was like pretty like big at this time.
Well, I mean, we had this with Max Mooney last week, where Max Mooney put on a really good performance.
Yeah, like we're getting
And
some like
we just don't know who that is.
getting some low names, like putting on some really good performances.
I think at the time, from what I can remember, McMahon was obsessed with two-job wrestlers. So it probably like explains the Repo Man. He didn't just want a guy who was a wrestler. He wanted a guy who was a wrestler, also had another job. So
I see what you mean, yeah.
Repo Man, obviously, he is a wrestler, but he's also a Repo Man.
He's
the
not.
The Matador, he's a wrestler, but he's also a Matador.
Not in this country, he isn't.
So I think that might be what it's from. But then there's a 10-punch spot. So
Yeah.
I can't remember who does it to who.
It was Matador doing it to Flair.
Okay, he gets like 6 and he just stops, which I thought was kind of cool. And then, like, obviously a bit more exchange back and forth. Flair does, he begs off Nathan. And it's the proper big, on his hands and knees, shaking his hair around, going, no, daddy, no. He's like waving his arms around. He's like got his hands in a praying position. And he's crawling around on his knees, trying to get Matador to stop kicking the shit out of him. And McMahon's like, there's no mercy in Raw. And I wanted to see, like, sort of Shang Tsung style, your soul is mine, rips his head off.
What if he pulls his heart out or something?
Yeah, like Roadhouse, his beats in his hand. There's great, and there's a couple of puzzles from punching back and forth. Flair gets back up, the Matador comes off the ropes, and you got to see it. You got to see the famous Ric Flair flop. Well, out of nowhere, just because he's so battered. It's not an offensive manoeuvre. He's not even aware he's doing it in the story, the terms of the story. He just turns slightly and just falls straight down. And the Matador goes sailing over that top rope so quickly and smashes to the outside.
This is towards the end. There was another bit that I wanted to talk about that really impressed me. There's a bit, I can't remember exactly what leads into it. I think it might have been another Matador coming off the ropes and into Ric Flair. But Ric Flair does like 3 flips out of the ring.
Oh, you were talking about the Irish whip spot. Sorry, I didn't write that down. So after the falling off, there's a bit of back and forth, and the Matador, from one corner, Irish whips Flair into the other corner, and Flair builds up ahead of steam. I've seen Shawn Michaels do this later on as well. And what he does is he kind of puts his head down, and he rolls himself up the turnbuckle with his back.
Yeah, so he's like sitting on the corner.
Yeah, like so
flops.
he kind of goes from standing up to like a tree of woe, so upside down with his legs on the rope, and then he kind of gets his sort of top half to come up and meet that, and then he falls to the outside. Like he kind of grabs the rope and kind of like pulls himself down off the side.
It's incredible athleticism and showmanship from Flair.
And they kind of like sort of have a bit of like punching outside, and then they go back in, and then obviously you get the whole section with the Flair flop.
Yeah. I've also got written down Bartlett is racist, but I can't remember what that was about.
Oh, I think he said something in a very bad Spanish accent.
Oh, he did a Spanish accent, that was it. God damn it.
Another highlight of the match was the section where Ric Flair, towards the middle of the match, he was coming off the ropes. And he was doing like a jumping knee, so he'd jump and he'd kind of drop his knee. But not only would he kind of like sort of do like a knee drop to your head, he'd kind of like combat roll out of it, which I've seen Triple H do so often.
Yeah, you said that was a very Triple H kind of thing to do.
And the thing is, obviously Triple H has based his career quite strongly on the moveset and the career of Ric Flair. So I think that's something he's just lifted, because they're quite good friends, so I imagine with permission from Ric Flair. But it's really nice to see that move in its kind of like genesis of back when Flair used to do it.
Yeah, and I've got to point this out because it's especially egregious during this match. There was someone in the fucking crowd whistling. Got like a little toy whistle or something, and it's just constantly fucking going.
I find the crowds in this one irritate me.
Yeah, because like they're cheering a lot more now than they did like in the last one. It feels like they're not trying to be polite as much.
Yeah, but
that's kind of gone the other way.
Yeah, now they're too relaxed. There was one lad with his feet on the furniture. I was like, get your feet down.
And I swear in the first match, it might not be what they were saying, but it sounded like they were chanting, "This match sucks."
Yeah, there's some weird... I mean, in this one, they're chanting, "Let's go, come on, Tito." So obviously they like the Matador guy, so... Yeah. But after the Flair flop, Matador goes over the top rope.
Yes.
Flair goes out to meet him. Mr. Perfect run in. And... oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's a poor guy in a sweater who just gets absolutely clattered between the two.
So it's building up. It's kind of got a really nice back and forth, and I could honestly see it going either way. I could honestly see the Matador winning clean, or I could see Flair winning with an eye rake or a low blow or a roll.
Yeah, something a bit dodgy like he usually does.
Yeah, like he normally does, and then he's coming out like, "Oh, Daddy, I want it, Daddy." But at this point, it just descends into anarchy, but good anarchy.
Yeah, like you can't really tell what's going on, you don't know where anyone is, but at the same time it's like, oh, what's going on?
Because Mr. Perfect just comes out of the corner of the screen and leathers the fuck out of Ric Flair. And like, it's not like the Macho Man Repo Man thing, where like he hits him once, he falls down, he stays down. Or the crush and doink thing where he hits him once, he stays down.
Yeah.
This is... he gets knocked over, Flair straight back up like a rabid animal. And they're doing the whole thing where they're trading right hands and they're bashing into the apron, they're bashing into the railing.
They're bashing into all of the security guards trying to pull them away.
And the security guards are proper grabbing elbows and they're wrenching the elbows away and they're literally just punching each other back and forth. But when they're punching, they're pulling each other towards them.
Yeah.
So they're going careening into it, so they're slamming into stuff, it starts really loud. It's people shouting.
There's no telling what actually happens to El Matador, because you don't see him again. I just imagine he got trampled and died.
That fat lad in the sweater fell on him.
Bless him.
And his eyes popped out. And he died. No more Matador. And like they're proper punching each other, like proper actually punching them, but
they're putting on a good show.
It looks great, and they kind of brawl to the backstage area. The match, I believe we agreed, and I think the commentary agreed, this ends in a no contest. Basically, that's...
I don't think it's said, but that's the only like outcome I can assume happens.
So the action disappears backstage, which I thought was a real shame.
For a good few seconds, yeah.
So they go back, so they brawl through the curtain kind of falls back in place.
Yeah, there's a camera like just on the orange curtain for like 10 seconds, and McMahon's like, can we get a camera back there? Can we get a camera back there or something?
Could he not just move the camera out of the way?
I mean, yeah, you can still see people, like, you still see like a leg moving about, like between the break and the curtains.
Oh, I'd love it if they were just backstage and they were like, going like, ah! Oh!
Just sat down, like reading the paper.
Yeah, reading the paper,
something.
so just one guy jiggles his leg a little bit. That'll do. Movie magic, innit? And then we go to an ad break. I appreciate there was no ad break during this match. I like that a lot.
Yes, they kept it until during the screwiness.
Which I think was good, because in that way you can kind of take yourself out of the situation while keeping the adrenaline up.
Yeah, and it gives the people a good chance to like sort of set up the finale, as it were.
So we come back from the advert break, and it's a Vince McMahon interview segment.
Yeah, he's just sort of standing up by the desk with his mic up.
And he's interviewing one Mr. Ric Flair, who is the epitome of intensity.
Yeah, and he's like talking like he has to breathe before every word. He talks like the kid from Malcolm in the Middle, but like angry and red.
So Ric Flair comes around the corner and he was wearing red trunks. Now it looks like he's naked because he's all one colour. And his eyes and his body, like his veins are popping out, and he's just so intense. He walks up to Vince, he stomps up to Vince McMahon, and like you say, he starts delivering this really intense sort of, I want to fight Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
I want to kill Mr. Perfect. And McMahon keeps moving the thing back and trying to talk, and then like, Flair, no. no. Carries on, and then they try and talk over each other, and then one will stop. And then Flair wanders off halfway
Yeah,
through.
he walks up to the ring to say something, and then he comes back to the mic to repeat it.
Yeah, like he's forgotten that like McMahon was supposed to fight. Like he's just going to wander off, and McMahon's supposed to chase him around. There was one section before that he got halfway through a sentence, and he just wandered off and hugged a woman in the arena in the back of the screen, and then came back again. But obviously he's blown up. He's wrestled a match. The adrenaline's pumping. His eyes, like his pupils, was like saucer wide. Like,
are we sure that's just the adrenaline?
I don't want to say.
Do you reckon
anything.
he did a line or something during the ad break?
I don't want to say anything. Like, I
don't know what Ric Flair was into.
Made my ears pop doing that.
Oh, your poor little ears.
So yeah, he's blown up. But
Is
like,
that a common thing for coke addicts?
What?
The ears popping after doing it.
I don't know.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So the interview segment was good. It's intense.
Yeah,
it's high octane.
It's a damn good interview.
And I like the intensity of Ric Flair.
Now, there is a bit of confusion here, because Ric Flair is like, we're doing this now. I'm going to get in the ring. I want Mr. Perfect coming to the ring now. And we're going to fight it out now. And Vince McMahon's like, oh, okay, well, I'll see if we get some time to do the match tonight. And then, obviously, then Mr. Perfect comes out.
Yeah, so I think there's a thing of, okay, so the show's drawing to a close.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got two ways of looking at this. I don't think the character of Ric Flair would want to wait till next week. He'd want to fight him now.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he's asking for it now. McMahon, obviously playing along with the character of Flair, this is one way of thinking about it, says, okay, I'll see if we can find some time or whatever, just improv in, to keep this section going. The other way of looking at it, from if you're watching it at home, you've got this match has been interrupted. I'm pissed off. This match got interrupted. But it's okay because Flair wants to fight the guy now and McMahon's going to let them fight now. So it's going to just happen now. It's going to be an impromptu match. They're both going to be like, they really hate each other. And it builds up really nicely for next week where you're going to get obviously the blow off where they actually do fight.
Yeah.
But like I say, so Mr. Perfect comes out. And Mr. Perfect isn't on the same level as intense as Ric Flair.
He's upset, but he's not like, I'm going to kill this man.
So obviously this is payback for what happened earlier when Flair attacked Mr. Perfect.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think Mr. Perfect did get the better of Flair here. Because Mr. Perfect won his match.
Yeah.
Flair's match ended in a no contest.
Well, yeah, so it's understandable that Ric Flair is a lot more upset.
And Mr. Perfect gives a promo, and he's basically saying he wants to fight Ric Flair also. He wants to beat him up. He wants to beat him up good. Yeah. And McMahon's like, we'll see if we can find the time, but it's probably going to be next week now, if that's okay. And he's like, that's fine, I'll fight him next week.
Yeah, there's a bit with Mr. Perfect, it's like, oh, you know me, Vince. Ric Flair knows me. Everyone knows Mr. Perfect. Like, I don't know you, Mr. Perfect. Why wasn't I invited to your birthday party?
I know Mr. Perfect.
What?
I know him.
How?
I know him.
Why?
He's good.
Oh.
He's a good bloke. He's a good guy.
Shall we go down the pub later? Or?
Shall we ring him?
Yeah. Sniff is on.
So yeah, and that's how. No, that's not how we end.
That's not quite how we end.
That's not. I think I blacked out the last 45 seconds of this. So the conclusion of that is definitely they're going to fight next week.
Yes, that's definitely the conclusion. Even if there was a bit of like we're going to try and do it this week, but it's not going to happen.
I appreciate the orchestrated chaos of the run in and then the going to the ad break and coming back. That's good TV.
Yeah,
that's good TV. Like, can you imagine watching this in the 90s and then
thinking it's legit?
And and they go back to the curtain. And you're like, oh, holy shit, what's happening? Then you come back from the ad break and you'd stay, wouldn't you? You'd watch the ad break. Yeah,
because and also like then you get to see, oh wow, Ric Flair is genuinely upset about this. Yeah. First, the Repo Man took Macho Man's hat, and now Mr. Perfect has stolen Ric Flair's career.
And we've got no racist. Like,
we should also say that the match between Mr. Perfect and Ric Flair is going to be like whoever loses their job.
Yes, it's like a loser leaves WWF match.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you're sitting at home and you're like, oh, this is great. There's a hat been stolen. There's a Repo Man. There's an angry red man shouting. There's no racist characters this week, played by Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Apart from Bartlett.
This is great. I love this. So yeah, loser leaves WWF match for next week, next Monday Night Raw.
Yes.
So that's great. It's going well.
Yeah.
And then
we cut back to outside.
With Sean Mooney getting his third paycheck of the evening for doing basically bugger all. And there is Repo Man.
Yeah, he's just hooking up a car to the back of his tow truck.
But whose car, Nathan?
Oh, it wouldn't only be bloody Rob Bartlett's.
His fears were right.
But the thing is that Bartlett has like no reaction to it. It's like, oh, that's my car.
Yeah.
After like whining about it all night, the best he can say is, oh.
There's 43 minutes of setup. And the payoff is a man sounding mildly perturbed by the event.
Bloody hell.
To be fair, Nathan, I would not want, if I was Rob Bartlett, to go mental.
No, not after
Because-
Macho Man has done it and Ric Flair has done it. You don't have to be trying to compare
The
to
thing
those two.
is, I'd be like, I cannot compare with the intensity that Macho Man has about his lost hat. So even though this is a bigger deal, Rob Bartlett, cannot do
But
this.
even so, you could be like, oh, dang it, that's my car.
You could be like, even like, oh, hang on a minute, what? Hang on, what's going on? Wait, no.
I
what
told
was he
you to
doing?
get my car.
Yeah, just something where he's like, oh, Repo Man's taking my car.
I knew this would happen. Well, at least I don't have to go home and see my wife today.
Or my crazy ginger auntie, who's Bobby the Brain Eaton. And Repo Man, he hooks. We see the value of the chain and the rope because
Yes.
he hooks the hook on there with the rope, so it's all connected together. The car and the tow truck, and he's
Bit of a
got
Chekhov's gun, that rope earlier.
Yeah.
It's paid off. Oh, and he does put on Macho Man's hat.
he's got Macho Man's hat, and he pops it on, and then I want to know who his accomplice is, because did you notice he climbed on the back of the repo truck and the truck drove away? He wasn't driving. He's got a mystery accomplice.
Ooh.
Who do you think it might be?
Bobby Heenan.
Bobby, with like an Italian plumber's moustache.
Mamma mia.
Yeah, so he's doing more of his
Yeah.
amazingly sensitive characters.
Working on his Type 5.
So like he gets on the back of the car and he kind of crouches down in like a very sort of like superhero kind of pose with the hat tilted forward and he's like,
No, he's not JR.
no, but you know what I mean? Like has like a high pitched kind of mocking laugh. And
What's it, Jerry the King Lawler?
yeah, I know you, man. And Macho Man is like, oh, I guess our date's off. He's just taking the piss out of it again. I don't want to go out for
Did
a
he
coffee.
say that?
No.
I
But
was
I
going to
just,
say,
he sounds annoyed. He's like, oh, I thought we were.
there goes my man.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Why would you do me like that? I was looking forward to our date. And now you've just been rude to me again.
Yeah, and then the show just ends.
It goes, just that's it. That's it. That is the end of the second week of Monday Night Raw. What did you think?
I think that was a much better episode than the first one. I feel like they definitely fit into the rhythm a bit more now.
What did you like? What didn't you like? Just a quick bit.
The pacing of this one was a lot better. I was worried when we were going into it that only having 3 wrestle matches in a 45-minute show would get a bit slow. Like they'd probably bog it down with a lot of promos in between, and there were a few, but they weren't slow. Like the Royal Rumble announcement, didn't go on nearly as long as it did last time. There was a little bit sort of like, here's what happened on this episode with like Doink and etc. But it all flowed into each other quite nicely. Yeah, the ad breaks kind of broke things up a bit, but otherwise, like the wrestling itself was all very good. All 3 matches were entertaining. They got a little bit repetitive, but they felt very visceral. Is how I'd put
Which
it.
was your favourite match, or can't you pick?
Honestly, probably the Ric Flair
Oh, good pick.
one,
Good pick.
just because Ric Flair is so good at taking a beating. So, how about you? What did you like? What didn't you like?
What didn't like Rob Bartlett.
Yeah.
Advert breaks are a bit of a pisser.
That's the thing. I mean, at least Rob Bartlett wasn't as present this time.
No, that's true. I didn't like the crowd, the horns and the whistles.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. Like with the whistles, it's annoying, but at least it's not like vuvuzelas or airhorns or anything like that yet.
What I liked, the wrestling was to a whole other level than it was last week.
Yeah.
The wrestling was really well choreographed, really well done. I appreciated seeing different people. We didn't have anyone that we saw last week on this week's, so we've got no fatigue from seeing people week after week.
Certainly no wrestlers. Like I think you'd see people in interviews and whatnot.
Oh yeah. What I mean is there was no
week,
sort of like combatants that were the same as
Yeah.
last week. The match quality was really good. A lot of the technical issues, like the sound quality, apart from the phone calls, the sound quality was a lot better. It was a lot of this, like you say, the pace. It was just slicker, better presented. The first one, obviously, as we were saying, the first time around might have just been a trial.
Yeah.
Now they've got a better idea of what they're doing, where they're going, how they're going to run it.
The first one was pretty chaotic. This one was also chaotic, but it felt like a good controlled chaos.
Yeah, it was kind of felt like it's chaotic because that's the way these
what it's
feuds are
supposed to
going.
be, yeah.
Not chaotic as in like no one knows really what's going on.
Yeah.
My favourite match of the night was probably Marty Jannetty versus Glenn Ruth. I like that one a lot.
Yeah, that was a damn good match.
Obviously, it was a really hard pick. Like I literally almost arbitrarily just decided which one I liked.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never heard of. I've heard a little bit about Marty Jannetty. I think he was really good. He was really swift. It's the one we talked the least about because I think it was it just flowed nicely to the point where we couldn't take down notes quick enough.
Yeah, because here's what would happen. I'd look down to take a note, and I'd hear you go, "Oh my god!" and I'd look up, and everything's already happened.
Or I'd look down, and then I'd hear like a slam, and you go, and then I'd look back up again, and I've missed something good. So
You know, it's
yeah.
good if I go, "Oh."
Okay. And I think that's where the commentary was the most. It kind of slithered. It kind of fitted in with the match the best. And Shawn Michaels on the phone was a really nice addition too. So all in all, I definitely think this is a very strong, marked improvement on last week.
Yes, yeah.
Now, is that going to continue?
I don't know.
We're building to the Rumble.
Yeah, then the Rumble is between this episode and the next one, which, by the way, I should say, we're not going to be doing an episode on the Royal Rumble, but we're going to have a quick recap of what happened in the Rumble, I guess, during next week's episode. I don't know if we're going to do that as an intro or if we're just going to sort of smatter the information in the episode.
We'll kind of see how it naturally fits in. The main reason being, I don't want to say I don't want to watch it, because I'm enjoying it.
But we don't have to spend the time watching it.
I mean, like, the good thing at the moment is it's an hour of our time to watch it, and then the discussion afterwards.
Yeah.
We'd have to do 2.5 hours. It's a big undertaking for a show this early in its inception.
Yes.
So I'm not saying we're never going to do the pay-per-views. What I think we're going to end up doing is we'll do a recap of the Rumble at the beginning of next week's episode, or smatter the information throughout. And then we'll see where that takes us from there. Obviously, new storylines are going to be building from next week. And then I believe, I might be wrong, the next pay-per-view after the Rumble, pay-per-view, is WrestleMania 9.
Which I think we're probably going
Which
to
I think we're going to have to. It's WrestleMania. It's the big blow-off of all the stories. So I think WrestleMania would be a good place to start for a special episode.
Yeah.
And then if we perform that competently, we shall then take on the pay-per-views from then on out.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think the problem is that we're going to be watching a 2.5 hour show, and we're going to try and squeeze that into like an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
Because that's how naturally we do this show.
Yeah, because, and also, this has been going for what, an hour and 15 minutes, and my throat is killing me. Just all the Macho Man and
You've not got the
voices.
stamina, mate, have you?
I'm tired.
So the next episode that we will be doing,
Yes,
we
had a quick preview of that thanks to a quick error on at our end.
We saw 5 minutes of it. Is the January 25th episode of Raw in 1993.
Was it 25th or was it 28th? Yeah, it was 25th, yeah.
25th?
That's just my handwriting, I can't even read it myself.
And yeah, it's the one after the Royal Rumble. So we get to see the blow-off of Ric Flair and Mr. Perfect.
But more importantly, we get to see the end result of the Repo Man, Macho Man Randy Savage debacle.
So that's what you're excited about then, yeah?
Sure. I want to see him have his hat back.
I'm excited about the Flair stuff, but okay. So thank you ever so much for joining us on the second ever episode of Going In Raw.
Yeah, that's the next title drop.
We've gone in Raw.
Yeah. And it's pretty much as raw as you can go with no information.
It's given me an infection. So we will, hopefully you enjoy the show, and we will see you next time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Fuck it, I'm just going to end it there.